Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics. Welcome to Because Comics. This is episode 20. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the melodic Mike Christensen.
Hello, Jay.
Is it me you're looking for? Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, Jay.
You're doing good. Okay, well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Guys, this is going to be a very special musical episode.
Please, no.
Please, wrong.
We did not prepare for that.
We did not prepare. Our throats are not ready for that kind of, those kind of demands.
That's true.
But guys, like we kick off every episode, is our pull list, where we're talking about what are we reading.
Jay, what are you reading?
I am reading this week Birthright.
So I've heard about Birthright, but to someone who hasn't, to someone who doesn't know anything about it at all.
Perfect, I'll ruin it for everybody. Get ready.
Amazing. No, yeah.
No. So Birthright. So it's an Image comic. It's written by Joshua Williamson, and it's drawn by Andrei, Bressan, and Adriano Lucas.
Okay.
So the art, the writing, it's fantastic, but the hook of the comic is really cool, unique. So basically the idea is we open on a father and son playing in a field. And, you know, it looks like part of just like a standard American family. You know, hey kid, yeah, like we gotta get back. Yeah, mother's pulling the cake out of the oven and we're gonna celebrate. And the kid's like, all right, dad. And they're playing catch. And the dad throws a ball and it goes too far into the woods. And the kid goes running after it. And he takes a phone call from his wife, like, honey, we'll be home. And don't worry, keep everything ready for us. And then the son, I don't know why I'm doing that accent.
No, it works though. It sets the mood.
But he turns around and the boy doesn't come back. And he looks and he goes, you know, hey, Mikey. Mikey is the kid's name. Mikey, where are you? Mikey. And he starts stepping into the forest a little bit more worried, even more so. And as he goes further and further, he starts to turn to panic, and the son has disappeared. Mm-hmm. And this very first comic really breaks down, like, first they're sitting, you know, looking for him, putting out posters. Where did Mikey go? Then things start to turn dark. Maybe the people don't trust each other anymore. People start pointing fingers. The marriage starts to dissolve. People are thinking the father killed the son.
Yeah.
All this terrible, terrible stuff starts to break down and change. Now, is this comic about families falling apart through tragedy? No, because where the hook comes in is they get a call from this police captain. The family does. The father does specifically. You need to come and see this. So they bring the family into a police station and they say, you know, we didn't want to bring this up until we were absolutely sure, but you have to see this. And they show in you know, one of those rooms where you have the mirror glass, interrogation room, is sitting a massive Conan-style man with the most epic of black beards, like huge beard. This guy looks like he's probably in his late 20s, maybe early 30s.
For those who watch Game of Thrones, it's like Tormund Giantsbane, but with black hair.
Absolutely. And this dude's just jacked. Literally look like he's got like some like metal claps on his armor. Like he's all in like rags. He's got like a big tattoo across his chest. He looks awesome.
Yeah.
And they say, this man is claiming to be your son. And that's really the hook of this whole comic, that Mikey went through a portal into a different world, you know, crazy Lord of the Rings style, really crazy Narnia, but like Dungeons and Dragons Narnia to the nth degree, and is like the chosen one, and will be like, and he's come back on a mission. You know, he was living there for years, crazy fantastical beasts he fought in wars he might have been in, and now he's come back with a very specific mission. Something where he wanted to come back, he wanted to finally come back and see his family, but there's something here, there might be enemies.
It's not just nostalgia.
It's not just nostalgia. He's back to prevent something, to save the world because of something terrible. And guys, it is amazing to watch a fantastical Conan-like character just be dropped into like our present day.
Well, that was part of the appeal of the first Thor movie, was seeing this guy who has no bearing on our world. Not like he's thrown by what are these magical sun orbs and so forth. Right. It's just like, oh, I don't understand your customs because you're all ridiculous.
Exactly.
And obviously he's the fish out of water there.
And just like Thor as well, Thor's mission to get back and to, you know, it takes precedence over what would be normal common social, cues.
Yeah.
You can't do these things.
It's not
here.
Encino Man. This man is on a mission.
Yeah, this guy's on, and just like this guy. So at a certain point in one of the issues, someone tries to taser him, not giving anything away. Things go wrong for Conan. It's not going to be smooth sailing.
Right.
Somebody tries to taser him. Tasers, they drop normal people to the ground. Well, this is Conan guy who fought super crazy dragon beast monsters. So he's looking, and the panel is amazing. You just see like lightning going into his arm, and he's staring down, and he like looks at it almost quizzically, and he says this line verbatim. He says, "Feels like the spark leeches of the lightning swamps."
That is amazing.
This is a line, guys. Feels like the spark leeches of the lightning swamps. I don't know what the lightning swamps are. We haven't seen them yet, but I want to go there.
It tells you everything you need to know.
Everything you need to know about this fantastical world. It's amazing, guys, and they're kind of doing this duality thing where each comic we're following him as he's come back, but we're also cutting between the time when he first arrived in the fantastic world.
Is that why there's two artists? Because I know you said there were two people.
Right, I believe that's the
series.
case, yeah. Regardless of how it differentiates, the art does feel very close.
It's cohesive,
But there's definitely crazier stuff going on, obviously, in the fantastical world, and they played a little bit more realistic, and so that's a great observation. I didn't even think about that.
Well, we did the Jughead Punisher situation
that's true.
where they shared, but also, just from a pure logistics perspective, some guys are better at certain
drawing
things than
cops
others.
and police stations and things like that.
Yeah.
And guys, the weaponry and the magical stuff, because he brings weapons back with him, and
good.
they're just amazing. I won't tell you what they are, but they're just awesome. Guys, this guy hung out in lightning swamps. It's so great. Please check out Birthright. I won't tell you any more about anything else going on.
I think in the words of Futurama, shut up and take my money.
Exactly.
I'm sold.
All right, guys, so that's my pull. Mike, what is your pull?
My pull is also a comic from Image, and it is called Wayward.
Oh.
It's written by Jim Zub. It's drawn by Steve Cummings. It's a very different series. It's compared a lot to Buffy, but it's very different tonally. The sort of obvious parallels are, teenage girl, mystical things going on. But it's more than that because it's very different. The way the series opens is this girl who is half Irish, half Japanese is flying out to Japan to live with her mother now. The living with her dad didn't really work out so well. That was how
will we come back to this maybe?
Well, the thing is, they're only about 4 issues in as of this recording, 4 or 5 issues in, so we haven't gotten too much into it, but it's obviously going to be a big part of it. But she comes to Japan. It's obviously incredible culture shock. She's starting midway through the school year, so you are really thrown into the world of Japanese schools and things like that, and it's a very different reality.
There's no learning curve. It's just like, here you are now.
You are this now. This is what you are. But as soon as she gets there, there's mysterious, mystical happenings going on. Like, she is seeing things that can't be right, and then she sees someone attacked by things.
And is this new to her? Like,
it was brand new. This is all, unlike Buffy.
This isn't like, I've seen ghosts for years.
Because Buffy opens with, at least the series opens with, oh yeah, no, this is a thing that I've dealt with before.
Right.
Not for years, but just like, this is a matter of
commonplace at this point.
For her, it is like, I just saw something that was strange. And just like the way, like, the world seemed to peel back the veil, a bit of Matrix vision for a second. Like, something was going on. She's like, well, that was weird. I bet that was jet lag or something. And then there's like monsters, and she's like, well, that's
a monster.
What is going on? And then like she keeps encountering very strange people in addition to strange monsters and demons and things.
Strange, like they say something slightly off.
No, people who have like abilities that seem to defy what you would expect or emanate some sort of feeling off of them. They come in and out, and they're like gone from her life.
So they're not like very like, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to save you.
No,
and I have magic powers.
It's more the other way around sometimes, because one of them she encounters because he seems to be, something's going wrong and there's weird magical stuff, and she seems to like get involved in the fight. But then, like, you get to know him a little better and try to figure out, like, what his deal is. And for him, she's the hero coming in. She has no idea what's going on. No one has told her anything.
I'm fighting this thing now.
And she doesn't even have, like, super fighting skills, apparently. She's just, like, she has some ability. She doesn't understand it yet. And it involves the way she sees the world. But she doesn't have, like, katanas that come out of her soul. Like, it's just, like, she is trying to figure out...
You have the powers to forge katanas from your soul.
And she's trying to figure out the world. And what's really interesting is the world is very well defined and realized. The comic actually has essays at the end of every issue that talk about Japanese culture. Like, the first one talks about Japanese monsters. The second talks about Japanese schools. And they're written by, I think a friend of the writer who's spent like 8 years living in Japan.
That really understands the culture.
And he teaches in Japan. He has taught for years, so he has a lot of experience with that.
That's so cool.
He talks at one point about the Tokyo Underground, which is way weirder. It's like the Underdark from D&D. Like, there's like a city under there.
There's Drow just wandering around.
There is a city under Tokyo. And it's not just like abandoned subway lines. There's like stores down there. It's like a whole thing that they don't even get into in the comic. It's just in this essay.
That's awesome.
And there's like this real, and that's the thing that I really think defines the series, is there's a lot there that seems like it could just be things we've seen before that are great. I love Buffy-style stories. I love any sort of teenage kid, especially like teenage girl getting superpowers.
Teenage kids fighting monsters. I mean, I'm guaranteed to at least read the first issue.
Yeah, but you can tell like there's a real level of maturity that comes to this that isn't normally there.
Right.
And there's a real like humanity brought to it that isn't normally, at least early on. I mean, in the second issue, and it's not even made a big deal of. It's obviously been made a big deal of by reviewers.
Right.
But in the comic, it's not a big deal. But there's a moment where she's very stressed at school, and she takes a minute in the bathroom, and she cuts herself. She's a cutter on her arm. And then she goes on about her day, and it's not presented as like, look at this horrible thing she's doing, or look
like
at
she's not going to spend this issue learning life
look at what she has
lessons
to do
about cutting.
to cope. It's not a very special episode. It's just like this is
a thing that she does.
This is a part of her life, and it's something that there's gonna be more of this for sure. There's gonna be more payoff.
That's interesting.
But it's just like it's presented as like this is a part of her life, and we're not trying to say anything right now. But like this is who she is. This is how she's coping.
Right.
We'll get into whether or not that's a good thing later on. You can tell. And also the monster designs are off the chain. They look so rad.
It's just like artists are just like having the best time letting their minds run crazy.
I don't remember what they're called, but there's these like turtle demons in sort of like Japanese folklore.
That's all I need to eat. Turtle demons?
It really jumped to the top of the thing that I read every week as soon as it comes out. I saw a new issue drop. Like I was like, oh, issue 4? Yes, please.
Wayward.
I am in.
That's amazing. Well, I definitely got to pick it up. I mean, turtle demons, I'm sold.
Oh yeah,
Teenagers Fighting Monsters.
First issue, turtle demons.
And everything else is really just wonderfully beautiful icing on top of that
There's
cake.
this thing with cats that they haven't yet paid off, but there's something going on with cats.
Oh, jeez. Guys, there is something going on with cats in Wayward.
That's what's up.
We've got to find out. So, guys, check out Wayward. Check out Birthright. So that was our polls. And now let's take us into our main segment. Mike, let's kick things off.
Madrox. Multiple choice. Today we're talking about a miniseries from 2004, a Marvel miniseries called Madrox. There was a lot of alliteration in that sentence.
Marvel miniseries Madrox.
A 5-part miniseries called Multiple Choice. And it's about a X-Men character named Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man.
And, okay, so I know Multiple Man. I was going to say Madrox, I do not know. My knowledge of X-Men is fairly limited.
That's okay, because this is not a character you need to know a ton about.
Okay.
The Multiple Man's powers are that he can duplicate himself.
Mm-hmm.
The way his powers originally worked, and actually still do in this series, is anytime he gets hit by anything, he duplicates.
So if like someone like punches him, he just boom into a bunch of dudes.
He will make another one of himself for every impact.
Okay.
So this series, it's by Peter David and art by Pablo Raimondi, and it's sort of a noir with the Multiple Man.
Noir Multiple Man.
Yeah.
I like it.
The only thing you need to know is that there's a section of New York that Grant Morrison introduced in his X-Men comics called Mutant Town. And it's sort of become like Harlem or Chinatown or something like that. It's an area that's sort of been appropriated by mutants. A lot of them live in these areas.
Oh, man.
Low rent housing. And
is this Chinatown, but also called Mutant Town?
It's not. It doesn't. It mostly does not take place.
Well, that's how things go down in Mutant Town.
Mostly the comic does not take place in Mutant Town, but that's where home base of the comic is.
Okay.
But the story opens with the bus station in New York and Jamie Madrox, who's got the shirt that has like the same logo that his old suit had.
Right.
He is bleeding from his abdomen.
Oh.
And just sort of stumbling into a cab, and he says, "Get me to Mutant Town." So that's how the story opens.
Kick off your jazz music.
Exactly.
We're in.
And the next person we meet is Rain Sinclair, who is a character from New Mutants. She is a Scottish mutant who came from a very religious background.
Okay.
Like more so than Nightcrawler. Very, very like
even more so than Nightcrawler?
Very repressive.
Okay.
And she can turn herself into a wolf. but also into like half wolf form. She's basically got werewolf powers. She can do whatever she wants.
Okay.
So that's obviously a tricky thing to grow up with.
Yeah.
But she comes to Jamie's office, which has a little cardboard stuck up in the stained glass window, or not stained glass, but the frosted glass window that every private eye has.
So so Madrox is a private eye.
He has a private eye now, and he has a little piece of cardboard in his window that says XXX Investigations.
That's awesome.
And then she basically thinks it sounds like a porn investigation.
Because of course it would.
But she comes in, she finds him on the floor, and she's like, "Oh God, Jamie, are you okay?" And he's drunk, but he's not drunk. He didn't actually drink. Last night he couldn't decide whether to go in or stay out, so he sent out a dupe to go get drunk.
Go out.
That dupe just got back.
Oh,
from
no.
a 24-hour bender.
Oh.
When he absorbs a duplicate, he doesn't get the wounds. He doesn't get the damage. He doesn't even get the alcohol. But if that duplicate is pickled, then so is Madrox now. And as they're talking, another Jamie enters, and he's dressed as a Shaolin monk.
What?
And he says, "I'm home." And Jamie's like, "Yeah, cool. Rain, can you give us a minute? I'll be down after I absorb him." And this is what he started doing. He is sending his duplicates all over the world to go learn stuff.
That is awesome.
And then come back and he absorbs the knowledge. But obviously the more he absorbs, the more it knocks him out and really kind of like lays him out for a little bit.
Wow. You could literally have a series of him just absorbing one of his ones that comes back each issue.
Yeah. So Rain goes down to the bar to wait for him. You don't know how long it's going to be. He's got to kind of process what he takes in. And she reunites with a buddy named Strong Guy.
I wonder what he's all about.
He kind of laments. He's like, you make one joke at a press conference and suddenly it's your name forever.
No.
His name's Guido. But he's like this really friendly guy. He's huge. He is like...
So he lives up to the name of Strong Guy.
He's inhumanly large, yeah. And as they talk, Jamie stumbles in bleeding. And Rain's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Well, what are you doing here?" She's like, oh, it's a dupe. We gotta go get Madrox Prime.
Oh.
And they...
so this is the one we saw from the beginning.
Yeah. And Jamie does not want to absorb this dupe. Because he's not gonna get the wound, but he's gonna get the feeling of dying.
Right.
Which is going to feel like his soul's being torn in half, and it's awful. And he says, like, "Please don't make me do this." And they're like, "No, if there's a killer out there, we need to stop him." And like,
so this dupe's like almost dead.
Almost, he is dying. He is bleeding out.
Wow.
And they're like, "We need to." If he's got more victims out there.
What if he doesn't absorb them? Does he just die like a regular person?
Like a normal person.
Wow.
I don't know if the body fades or anything like that, but he won't get the memories. He'll feel the effect of that guy dying, but he won't get it.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah. So then he does absorb the dupe, and he gets only a few flashes. He does not get a full set of memories, presumably because of the traumatic experience this guy is going through or went through. But he gets flashes of Chicago, the Sears Tower, the train. He sees a picture of a girl and in a newspaper clipping, and he has a date, so he knows whereabouts. And he sees the bloody knife. And he kind of wakes up, and he's like, "Okay, I gotta go. Someone killed me, apparently, or tried to. I don't think it was random, because those were very focused memories on, like, that girl, and I gotta go figure this out." And he leaves a duplicate behind. He basically says, like, "You kind of stay here, and they may come back for me, and I need you to kind of draw fire." And the guy's like, "Great, I'm bait."
Do the duplicates, like, are they exactly him, or are they, like...
This is the thing that starts to come to light in this series.
Okay.
In this series, because he started to spread himself so thin, they're not always exactly him. They sometimes have a different quality to them. Maybe they're a little more boisterous, or maybe they're a little more melancholy, or maybe they're a little bit more whatever.
Interesting. They're like seven dwarves of his personality.
Well, and it's not exactly that, because sometimes they really kind of take on these sort of, not different identities, but it does seem to be this effect of him stretching himself so thin. And the other thing he starts to talk about is that he gets now he struggles with choice a lot more, and with connection to things a lot more. Because no choice really means anything to him, because he can always make a different one. Now, I mean, whatever happens. It's not like he has time travel.
Technically, he almost makes all of them.
That's exactly the problem. He has a hard time committing to things. He couldn't decide whether to go out or stay in.
Because he can do both.
So he sent someone to do both. He couldn't decide on this.
So he can't actually make real decisions when he can literally do all the decisions.
Exactly. And it's like a real, like...
Who's the writer of this again?
It's Peter David. And
Peter David, you are a clever fella. I mean, this is a great way to formulate a noir series.
It really is.
That's amazing.
But it's Chicago, we open in Chicago, and he finds a friend named Stringer, who's being mugged. And Jamie goes in and fights them off. Of course, as soon as someone punches him, there's another one of him. And very quickly, he gets the upper hand, and the guys run away. And one of his duplicates, like, dotes on his friend Stringer. He's like, "Oh, honey, they really beat you up." And Stringer's like, I didn't know you were. And Jamie's like, don't worry about it. Everyone's got a little bit of that in them. And, we learn that Stringer is a reporter, but he's also a mind reader. And Jamie kind of like threatens. He's like, hey man, you gotta help me out. No, I don't have to do that. Oh, sure would be a shame if all your sources found out you can read minds. I don't know if they'd want to talk to you. Yeah, just help me out. Very noir, kind of.
It's very noir.
We meet a villain named Clay, and he's on the Empire State Building, and he's taking a phone call. He's got like white hair and glasses and these white tribal tattoos on his body under like his normal clothes. And he's taking this phone call where someone is telling him that Madrox is alive. His mission was only to kill that target. He didn't have to kill the real Madrox. He just had to kill
a Madrox
that guy.
Looking person.
It's not his job to track down the original.
Which, by the way, has got to be a very frustrating target to track down.
Well, not if you just follow the one guy.
Oh, that's true.
So, but this boss gives him a new directive. Like, this Madrox has come to Chicago. Just kill as many Madroxes as you need to stop them from coming.
Kill all the Madroxes.
So in New York, Jamie's basically putting in new glass in the windows for some reason. They're like, why are you doing this? I don't know, just felt like I needed to do it. And he's kind of eccentric, maybe.
Okay.
And this new client comes in, this woman who is trying to hire them as a private eye. She thinks her husband is cheating on her because he keeps calling out the name Kim in his sleep. But he's a quadriplegic.
Oh.
But she thinks
that's an important thing to note.
She thinks he's cheating astrally. He's going into an astral form and cheating.
The Marvel Universe, everybody.
This is Mutant Town. This is what's up.
This is what goes down in Mutant Town.
Jamie looks up the girl he saw based on the date on the newspaper clipping. He finds it's Sheila DeSoto, who's the fiancée of Edward Vance. He's a multi-million-dollar industrialist with ties to organized crime.
As I would expect.
And of course, Jamie, in the noir fashion, decides to go pay her a visit.
Right.
He gets to like the wall around Vance's compound. It's this mansion with some good square footage. And he makes several dupes to help him climb over the walls. One of them doesn't approve of trespassing. One feels like if they were making time with some other guy's girl, maybe they deserved what happened. One of them's like, no, man, if someone puts us in the ground, we put them in the cornfields. That's the Chicago way.
Wow.
One of them says, like, the cycle of violence gets you nowhere. And one of them's like, I wonder what's on TV tonight. And Jamie just, manages to get them all. He climbs the wall.
We got this.
He absorbs them all once he's at the top and drops down.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and
he's like his own extending ladder.
Exactly. He's his own barrel of monkeys.
Right, basically.
He manages to sneak through the trees. He gets to the pool, and he finds Sheila swimming naked. And he pulls the very noir move and just says, nice night for a swim, eh, gorgeous? And she just goes, James! Oh, thank God! And shoves her tongue down his throat.
Oh.
So, something's up.
That escalated quickly.
Something's up, and he's like, oh, okay, cool, fine.
I've been here before? Crap.
Well, he, kind of knew that something, but obviously this was a relationship.
Yep.
In New York, the Jamie decoy is in his office, and Clay is across the street and takes a sniper rifle and apparently shoots him in the head. Oh. It seems that way. And then in Chicago, Jamie screams in pain and drops into the pool.
Oh, no.
Issue 3 opens with the duplicate, who's okay. He got clipped in the forehead, or he got clipped like along the scalp, basically. He says, no, I put in some refractive glass to kind of make myself look 3 inches separate. He's on the phone with Rain, who's scouting out the paraplegic. And she's like, what do you mean you put in refractive glass? Who has that? And he's like, Doc Savage. He got it from Pulp Comics.
That's awesome.
But he said, no, the other Jamie will probably feel the hit. He may feel dizzy or black out. He should be fine, unless he falls into a pool or something. Cut to Jamie's in the pool. He hits the bottom of the pool. He's trying to get his bearings, and he's trying to swim up. Mm-hmm. And there's another version of him, or maybe there isn't, but there's another version of him is in the water with him and wrestles him and tries to drown him.
Whoa.
And Jamie Prime pushes him away and gets to the top of the water and breaks the surface. And then a very real person shoves him back under the water. But he remembers medical class that one of his dupes audited. He breaks the fingers in the hand, the ring finger and the pinky, easiest to break.
Of the person pushing him down?
Of the person pushing him down, so he just breaks that hand. And he's like, great, bingo. And basically, not quite enough, so that the bad guys pull him out. Not the one with the broken hand. But the other ones pull him out, and Edward Vance says, take him inside. He's a mutant, so don't drop him. Put him down gently.
If we drop him, we'll make more of him, and it just gets
bad. That would be bad. And he says, what was he doing here? And she's like, I don't know. He just confronted me.
I just realized an interrogation of multiple men in a noir film is hilarious because you tie him to a seat, and every time you punch him, another version of him pops out.
Yeah, maybe tied to another chair.
That's awesome.
But, Sheila says, I'm sorry, he just, came out of nowhere, and he's like, why didn't you call for help? He said he had a gun. And she's like, good to know that nothing happened. He's giving her a very appraising stare. This is not the look of a man who trusts his fiancée.
Does Edward Vance know?
Nor should it be.
Probably.
So anyway, the goons lock Jamie up in the closet. He's got handcuffs on, and obviously they put him down gently.
Right.
Back in New York, Clay is trying to figure out if he hit Madrox. He's trying to see, he's like, I don't know, maybe I hit him, maybe I didn't. And Strong Guy comes leaping across into the apartment and tries fighting him, and Clay opens fire with guns, and one of the neighbors starts yelling at them for shooting through the wall, and then blasts through the wall with her cannon hand.
What?
And knocks, it's Mutant Town, and knocks Strong Guy down into the streets, and Clay is able to escape.
Oh no!
Jamie wakes up in the closet, and he has to very carefully free himself. He can't just make a duplicate. That guy will have handcuffs on. That is no use to anyone. He manages to find a paperclip again.
Wait, so when he duplicates, the handcuffs will duplicate with him?
The handcuffs will duplicate with him, yeah.
He should look into carrying lots of money on him and then duplicating himself.
Well, that's counterfeiting.
I'm just kidding.
He might have done that.
Probably.
How did he afford the private eye license? Or I don't know how you become a private eye.
Good question.
Office space.
Right.
But he finds a paperclip. He remembers the dupe who spent some time in, Vegas learning from magicians. He name drops Penn and Teller.
This new twist on Multiple Man's character...
It really works. It's kind of very cool.
Really fun.
And he picks his own lock, and then he's like... But while he's doing this, he really is thinking about the fact that when he was kissing Sheila, he didn't really affect him the way it should have. Obviously, exciting. Naked girl kissing you. Great.
Right.
But also, he knows there's, choices. He could love her. He could fool around with her. He could be turned on. He could not be turned on. He can go in all directions, so, it doesn't matter to him. Mm-hmm. So he just, he finds himself more and more disconnected, even from something like that.
Wow.
Anyway, he frees his hands. He sticks his finger under the door. He's like, gotta focus on making my other dupe on the other side of the door, otherwise this is useless.
Right.
So he sticks his finger under, he slams his other hand down on the floor, and he makes another dupe on the other side of the door.
Nice.
He says, great, now hurry, let me out. Are you there, man? Everything okay? Why aren't you letting me out? What's the point in letting you out? What's the point in anything?
Oh, no.
He found the nihilistic one, apparently.
No!
And the dupe just sits against the door and is talking about how nothing matters. And
I just imagine him just, back against the door,
is exactly
sitting
that.
on the floor,
He's back against
legs
the door.
far apart, just kind of clicking his feet together.
It is almost that.
Wow.
And then the thugs hear voices, and they come out, and they're like, how did he get out? Who's locked in the closet? He's talking to someone. They don't know. Is it one of their guys? What did he do? They open the door, and Madrox gets out. He knocks one of them out, and he accidentally kills one of them.
Oh, no.
And he's like, oh, shoot. And he kind of looks at the dupe, and he says, that's when nothing matters. When you're dead and not before. Cool? Cool. Okay. And absorbs the other guy. And then, back in New York, Rain is watching this astral, this paraplegic, and she's like, I don't know, man. I'm not seeing anything. She's, back on the phone with Jamie, and while they're trying to sort out their whole thing with the cops.
So we've got, the sub-story and the main story going on.
And she sees this astral form come out of this guy.
Oh.
And she's like, okay, so this is real. She wasn't crazy. And she follows the astral form to his lover, apparently.
His lover's place.
Yeah, and we'll come back to that in the next issue. Madrox sneaks through Edward Vance's home, and he hears Eddie on the phone, speaking Russian, which, again, he knows a little of. He knows some Russian. Because he remembers the one dupe who spent 1.5 years in Russia lamenting he couldn't be the duplicate in Hawaii.
That's awesome.
And he hears the guy say, the mutant problem has to be attended to. Can't put it off any longer. It's getting out of control. And then Clay, apparently back from New York, Clay puts a gun to the back of Jamie's head.
Oh.
And he's like, all right, clearly you're free, and I assume you're responsible for the blood outside. So Jamie hid the bodies, but people keep bleeding. And
it's what they do.
And Eddie's like, oh, did you hear me? And he's like, yeah, I heard you speaking some language, but I don't know what you were saying. And someone says, don't believe him. He knows Russian, and he understood every word you say. And they say, how do you know? Cut to the other guy. And it's another Jamie, who has a broken ring and pinky finger.
Oh!
And he says, because I speak Russian, and I heard every word you were saying.
So he is an evil version of himself?
He apparently, and this is what we find out, when he hit the pool floor, made a version of himself of self-loathing.
Oh, God.
Issue 4 actually jumps ahead and cuts to Jamie alone in a burning factory looking for someone.
Whoa.
And then a bunch of debris falls on him, but he makes a duplicate. As soon as it hits him, it makes a duplicate that rolls to safety and then runs.
So we kind of like a Tarantino moment?
A coward who's like, I'm sorry, man, I'm not going to help you, and just bails.
Oh, no.
As Jamie starts to black out. We jump back to where we were back in the Vance estate. And Eddie's obviously pissed because not everyone's here. Clay is here, and Sheila's here, and this other evil Madrox who basically is ratting on Jamie to Eddie and basically saying, yeah, here's why I'm in town. Apparently we're involved with Sheila. And Madrox Prime is like, no, man, I have no relation to Sheila, your fiance. And Sheila's like, we're married.
Oh, no.
Come again? What was that? I didn't, what? And apparently
God.
when Eddie was out of town, Jamie swept her off her feet. They got married in Maryland. And
duplicates.
Eddie gives the self-loathing dupe, the evil duplicate, a gun. Because if they kill Madrox, it's murder. If Madrox kills Madrox, it's suicide.
It is suicide.
That is enough of a technicality for them to be scot-free forever.
Yeah, the trials in Mutant Town have got to be really weird.
Yeah, that would be strange.
Yes.
And he's across the room, too. And this other Madrox who's pointing the gun at our Jamie. But Jamie tries to remember the teachings of that Shaolin Jamie learned. Try to think about
the earlier.
Try to think about energy and enlightenment, and try to think about all this stuff, and try to focus on reaching out to the other duplicate's energy, and sucks him into himself from across the room.
Whoa!
Then he grabs Sheila. They break out the window. They create a dupe as he does that, who breaks his fall, which creates a chain of duplicates that break his fall all the way down the hill.
That is awesome.
As he rolls on his butt, there's more and more duplicates as he goes, and then he sucks them all in remotely because this is the thing he can do now.
Did someone just sit in a room and think, what are all the cool things we can do with Multiple Man, and then come up with all the cool things?
Yes, his name's Peter David.
God damn, I owe this man a letter.
And he sucks them all in, and he's like, oh, okay, that was a lot. That was a lot all at once. And they go on the run. We cut back to New York. Rain follows this astral guy, this cheater, this Lothario, to another apartment where he is hovering over a naked man.
Yep.
This Kim is a dude, apparently. And she sees them and exclaims, she's like, oh, wow, whoa. And the astral form sees her and attacks her.
Oh, no.
And they fight in the street, but as soon as she hits him with her wolf claws, he dissolves.
Wolf claws apparently are counter to astral energy.
Yeah, it's not good. Don't do that. Sheila and Jamie are on the run, and she kind of has worked out, okay, I clearly married a duplicate of yours. You were very surprised by the kiss. So that seems strange. And she reveals, the mutant problem that Eddie was talking about is there's this mutant who, according to Eddie's sources, has apparently been spending the last year trying to clear out the Chicago bosses and try to take over the mobs. And then those sources started disappearing, too. So Eddie's taking it seriously.
So clearly there's some mutant in Chicago who's taking out Eddie's guys.
Yeah.
He's basically cleaning out competition.
And competition of their own as well. And someone's taking over territory.
In all fairness to Sheila, about a mutant problem, due to a mutant, she did falsely marry a man who ended up just joining another guy who can't make choices of his own life. So, kind of a problem.
It's true. There's a lot of mutant problems going on.
A lot of problems.
But she says it's like the mutant has been reading minds, knowing what everybody's up to. And Jamie's like, I gotta talk to Stringer. And so she calls him and he sets up a meeting, and then he drops Sheila off at a motel. He goes and meets Stringer in a newspaper factory.
Oh, now we've gotten to where we were before.
Well, it's all not on fire, so it's clearly not. Anyway.
But, yeah, we know things are about to be on fire.
He confronts him and does the whole noir, let me tell you a story, Stringer. It's of a mutant who does this and tries to get one over on the mob. Does that sound familiar? And Stringer's like, you're crazy. None of that is true. I can't believe you'd accuse me of that. And then everything bursts into flames around them. They get separated, and we see the scene where Jamie gets hit by the debris and the dupe runs away. Stringer, meanwhile, manages to get away and sees someone, recognizes them, pulls a gun, and tries to fire, but then gets stabbed by something long and claw-like.
Ooh.
Which then retracts, and we see Sheila buttoning her blouse and telling Clay to kill Madrox and not screw it up this time.
Oh, wow. What a twist. The femme fatale?
Never trust a dame.
Oh, man.
It's very noir.
This story is getting very noir.
We learned that back in New York, that astral cheater died peacefully in his sleep at the same time.
So she killed him via astral swiping.
She slashed his soul, basically.
Oh, no.
She feels really bad about that. She's a very, Christian woman. She doesn't want to murder people.
Jeez.
But we cut back to Jamie.
Yeah, but we'll come back to it later.
Who is buried under debris, and Clay is standing over him with a gun. And, Madrox gives us the rundown in his head of, okay, Clay killed Jamie's dupe because Vance wanted him dead because Vance found out Jamie and Sheila were together. He says, why don't you just tell me what's going on, because I pretty much know it all already. And Clay says, yeah, I killed your dupe. Jamie's like, I knew it. Clay's like, I killed him on Sheila's orders. She was secretly using her mutant powers to take over the mobs. She wanted you dead because once your dupe realized what she was, he ran off. Okay, I knew that too.
I definitely knew that. I was just about to say it, but
that's exactly what he says. Then the cowardly duplicate of Jamie comes back and knocks Clay in the back of the head with a tire iron.
He learned!
Yeah, he's like, hey, you're still alive, great! And he pulls Jamie to safety and then gets shot.
Oh.
And tumbles into Jamie, who looks up and sees two Clays. And Clay says, what, you thought you were the only one? You don't know anything, Madrox. Least of all, what you really are. Jamie's lying on the ground, again, this burning factory around him. He slams his foot down on the ground 6 times and makes 6 more of himself. And then the floor collapses. It's a burning building. Like,
That
don't,
works.
Don't do that. But, they're safe, and all of the ones seem to have self-preservation in mind. They manage to pull him to safety, and he absorbs them and gets out of the building. He finds Stringer and pulls him to safety, and he says that Sheila's a mutant and starts to say, like, she's not like us, she's something weird and more, and he pretty much dies.
Oh, no.
And we cut back to New York, back to Mutant Town, where Jamie, well, the duplicate Jamie, Rain and Strong Guy are all talking to this widow, and she's like, you didn't find anything? It was all moot? And they're like, yeah, there was nothing to it, I'm sorry.
Right,
They're
trying
all
to
in
give her at least some peace.
Mutant Town, man.
It's the worst.
Jamie shows up at Eddie's estate, and, Eddie's there, Sheila's there, Clay is there, and, Eddie and Sheila are, like, patching things up because apparently it's water under the bridge. And Jamie shows up and basically plays the part of, like, the dangerous mutant and shoots Eddie in the head.
Whoa.
Eddie goes down, and Clay's like, what are you doing? And Sheila's like, no, actually, he was gonna have to die at some point anyway, and now, like, he's to blame, so it's fine. But now I have to kill you, Jamie. And her skin rips apart, and these weird insect legs and spines come out of her.
Whoa.
And she tackles him through the glass windows.
So
and
she's like some insect monster creature?
Yeah.
Gross.
And she's, like, wrestling him and trying
Is this like an Ace Ventura moment? Like, I kissed that.
No, kind of. But then what he says instead was, paint gun.
Paint gun?
He didn't kill Eddie.
Oh.
Eddie heard Sheila's whole, like, oh no, he was going to die at some point anyway, so it's fine that Vance is dead.
So he hit him in the head, so it kind of knocked him down temporarily, but long enough to hear it.
Trusted that Eddie would, like, know what was going on and be like, I'm not dead. Oh, I was supposed to die? Okay, that's bad. He has his own gun, though.
A real gun with real bullets.
He kills Clay and shoots Sheila several times and blows her apart.
Wow.
And then, there's this moment where it's like, he's gonna kill Jamie, and Jamie's like, I did you a favor. Do you kill people who owe you favors? Mostly, yes. Oh, well, then I have nothing.
You're a terrible businessman.
And Vance is just like, get out of here, hit the road. And Jamie's on the bus back home, and he says, like, I don't really know what I achieved. Because, like, a duplicate, someone who has my powers died, and I know that's not always permanent. Because, like, that's how I got involved in this. This bad guy is still in charge of other bad guys in Chicago. He's still a gangster. And he gets home and he finds Rain and Strong Guy, and they've actually replaced the little cheap cardboard sign in his window. It says X Factor Investigations.
That sounds great.
Yeah, which was actually an earlier series. There was an X Factor group.
A throwback to the X Factor group.
And actually the name of the next series that launched.
By the way, great main segment.
Thank you, sir.
This is the best I've ever heard of Multiple Man, and honestly,
for sure,
I am really excited to, like, get into more of this X Factor Investigations. This is really clever use of this character to play it off with his powers, the noir, everything.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. All right, well, that was our main segment. Now that takes us into our game, Who Am I? All right, so this is our game, Who Am I? Like usual, I will hold the name of a hero or villain in my mind, and through a series of 20 questions, Mike must sort out who that hero or villain is.
That's right.
Now, to keep things pretty straightforward, this is only a hero or villain of Marvel or DC.
Otherwise, we'd lose our minds.
We would go all over the place. You didn't read that one comic that one time?
That super obscure issue
that
of
Grant
Spawn?
Morrison wrote? Oh, yeah. That would get a little wild.
And then we also have lifelines for the same reason. If I ever get stumped, or if I just need a little prompting or a hint, I can ask for an event from the character's life or a quote from the character might have said.
Exactly. Not a direct quote, like you probably wouldn't be able to look it up, but something they might have actually spoken. All right, so Mike, kick things off. What is your first question?
Marvel or DC?
It is DC.
Okie dokie. Male, female, or neither?
It is female.
Hero, villain, or antihero?
I'm gonna say hero, but anti-hero is also a decent answer.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. This is a tricky one, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with one of my classic DC questions. Is this character a member of a legacy? Are there more of this character either before or after the character?
No.
Okay, that does narrow it down in DC. Has this character ever been in a big screen film?
This character has not been in a big screen film.
To your knowledge, has this character ever been in a comic book? I'm sorry, not comic book.
Jay, has this character ever been in a comic book? That's a great question, Mike.
On our comics podcast. Cartoon was what I meant to ask.
Yes.
Okay, this character has been in a cartoon. I'm not going to narrow it down a bunch, but does this character have superpowers?
Yes, this character has superpowers.
That rules out, like, 2.
Really?
It was like Huntress, and that's kind of it.
Crossbows, my superpower.
I'm going to do an event. It's DC. I'm going to do a little bit of a handicap with DC, so I'm going to go event first.
Okay, so this is kind of fun. She once led a team of the most dangerous female warriors in all of the galaxy, but after giving it all up and living on Earth, she instead became a famed wrestler and started a new team of dangerous female wrestlers.
Is this Big Barda?
This is Big Barda, folks!
Oh my gosh, that is the fastest I've ever gotten one of these.
That is the fastest you've ever gotten
I
one of these.
haven't read any of that. It's the female warriors in space, and I was like, who leads female... Oh,
Big
it's
Barda.
Big Barda. Big Barda is a Fourth World character. She's from the Jack Kirby world of Apocalypse and the New Gods.
And the reason why I said anti-hero, she started out as she worked for Darkseid.
That's right.
She worked on Apocalypse, and through meeting Scott Free, who is Miracle Man.
Mr. Miracle.
Mr. Miracle, right.
Yeah.
And
Miracle Man is a Marvel character.
That's right.
Alan Moore character with so
Different.
much litigation around him that we can't even talk about.
Exactly. We are actually sued right now.
Right now.
Mr.
Miracle.
Mr. Miracle, who, I mean, the name's Scott Free for a guy who is an escape artist.
Gosh, that's right. I keep forgetting the pun in that
What
name.
a great pun for that name.
That's very Jack Kirby.
But yeah, so Big Barda marries Scott Free and moves to Earth.
And she's like the big powerhouse of that.
She is the big
team.
powerhouse.
Yeah.
She joined Birds of Prey for a little while to be their big heavy hitter.
That's great.
She's fought Wonder Woman a bunch of times.
Oh yeah, alongside and against.
Yep, exactly. Of course, you're gonna have those matchups, and I just love the fact that her team. By the way, she used to run I think they were called the Furies for Darkseid.
That's right.
And the Furies are like the most badass of badasses female warriors out there. Like they are the worst. Of course, created by Granny Goodness, Darkseid's super evil granny lady.
My favorite thing about Granny Goodness, who is again a Darkseid character, she is the old woman who tortures people and brainwashes everyone on Apocalypse. She's the person who straps you into the Clockwork Orange machines, basically.
Essentially, yeah.
My favorite thing about her is that on the Superman 90s cartoon, she was played by Ed Asner. And it was the best. Like, it was like... you knew she was female, but it just was wrong.
Those shows just got everything right, guys.
Yeah, it really was terrific.
And she's all over the animated universe. She was on Batman Beyond. She was in Superman. She was in Justice League. She was in Brave and the Bold as well.
She was in one of the animated movies as well, Superman and Batman Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And she was pretty cool in that, even though I have mixed feelings about some of those movies, but I think her action in that film is amazing. And she's a cool character.
She's a great character. And she's got just a lot of fun stuff. And I just love the idea that she gave up the most badass super team in the galaxy to then she was on Earth. She didn't have anything to do, so she was like, oh, I'll just become a wrestler.
Yeah.
And then during the wrestling matches, she found out that they were like rigged or faked. So she was like, no, I'm actually just going to make a super actual wrestling team and recreated the Furies on Earth.
I didn't know any of that, but it makes perfect sense.
It does make sense.
All I knew was the Space Ladies, and I had it from there, but like the wrestling thing was like, yes, I didn't know that, but it's absolutely Big Barda.
This lines up. All right, guys, so who am I? Again, answer is Big Barda, and that was our episode of 20 of Because Comics. We'll be posting...
Wow, 20 episodes, yeah.
20 episodes, guys.
We're coming up on, I think... beginning of May is our
anniversary.
1-year anniversary.
Yeah, we're getting close, guys. So, again, we'll be posting a new episode.
We'll be registered on Bed Bath & Beyond.
Registered on Bed Bath & Beyond. Please get us that microwave we've been asking about. Not all of you.
We have 3 blenders,
We have 3 blenders. I mean, is anyone getting our letters? No one is.
I keep cutting you off when you try to actually give the people what they want.
Guys, posting a new episode every other week. If you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions, what we want out of a microwave, at becausecomics@gmail.com.
If you just want to ask us about segments that we should do on the show.
Exactly.
Like, let us know.
Let us know some Who Am I's you'd like to throw our way. I'll promise I won't tell Mike what they are, or maybe he'll see it beforehand and use it against me. Who knows? Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at partialarc, and be sure to check out more content from our comic boy wonder, Mike Christensen, at supergeekmike.com. Thanks for listening, and remember,
if you can read this t-shirt, you're standing way too close.
You are, folks. Personal space is special space.
And this is an audio medium. Like, if you can read this, I am deeply unsettled.
Because comics.